I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. on today being December 20th, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Commission of Dekalb. If the clerk could call the roll for the commission, please.
Becker.
Here.
O'Flaherty. Here. Kenya Graham. Here. Stoker.
Here.
Wright. Maxwell. Vice Chair McMahon.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'm going to ask for the approval of the agenda. So, I'm going to ask the commissioner members if there are any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda as submitted.
I move to approve as written.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So I have a motion on the floor to accept the agenda by Trixie O'Flaherty and a second on the floor by Stoker. All in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye.
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 And all those opposed, same sign. The motion has carried. The next thing I need is the approval of the minutes. So I'm going to ask the commission members if there are any additions, deletions, corrections to the November 15th minutes that have been submitted to us of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Move to accept as presented.
So we have a motion to accept the minutes from the November 15th meeting from Becker on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Pena Graham. All those in favor of say aye.
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 And all those opposed, same sign. The motion carried. Okay. This portion of the meeting is the public participation portion of the meeting for items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to speak about anything that's not on the agenda tonight? If so, please come to the podium, state your name and your address. Seeing none, I will close the public participation portion of the meeting and we'll move on to items E and F, public hearings. The first public hearing we have on the agenda tonight is a text amendment petition from the city of DeKalb. Okay.
Usually I read the hearing.
Read that, okay.
Yeah, right off the agenda.
Where do I find that?
That's right on the agenda.
Okay. Let me get all the way up to the agenda. Okay.
Bill, I think it's up on the board right there.
Oh, that's even better. Okay. A petition by the city of DeKalb for the text amendments to the UDO to add self-storage facility, exterior unit access, as a special use in the light commercial district and the general commercial district, and to change self-storage facility, exterior unit access, from a special use to a permitted use in the LI, light industrial district, and the HI, heavy industrial district.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The city initiated text amendments here, just dealing with self-service storage facility, exterior unit access. We have two. We break down the exterior unit access and the interior unit access. Basically meaning the exterior is a typical self-storage where you have the outdoor rolling doors going into a unit. What's proposed deals with the light commercial and general commercial district. We do have a hearing after this one. This is how it was initiated. Applicant wants to put up a self-storage facility in a GC district, which currently exterior unit access is not listed as a permitted or conditional use. So we're proposing to add that use as a special use in the light commercial and also the general commercial district. So the text amendment would have to be approved in order for the second hearing to proceed. This little background, in 2018, we city amended the UDO regarding self-storage facilities. There was a previous desire by a business owner in town to put up an indoor facility, climate controlled. That was never constructed, but we did some amendments trying to expand it. We separated the two types, the interior unit access and exterior. In addition, we added those facilities for indoor as a special use in light commercial and general commercial districts. Also in the light industrial and heavy industrial, the exterior unit access were added as special uses. Prior to that, those 2018 amendments, self-service storage facilities, we didn't break down indoor or outdoor. They were only allowed as a special use in light industrial and heavy industrial districts. We also included some amendments in that 2018 change to include some standards to make sure indoor and outdoor facilities were reviewed under special use permit, were located in the, we had some standards to make sure they're in an appropriate area, protected prime retail space, particularly for the indoor facilities, and were compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. So the specific amendments are as follows. We're amending the light commercial district to add it as a special use for exterior unit access. As you look at some of the, they're very similar to some of the other special uses in the LC district. And again, the special use procedure would allow it dictates a hearing like we're going to have tonight. So you have the ability to see where it's located. There's a hearing. Surrounding owners are notified. And so there's a chance for public input. We're doing the same for the GC district, adding it as a special use. The exterior unit access facilities, again, special use, you get to see those, they're a hearing, and to make sure that the standards are being met. So in the LSC and GC districts, these facilities in some areas of those districts would be appropriate. Maybe there's some that may not be appropriate, but that special use process allows the commission to review that and go through those standards. Also, we looked at the or heavy industrial and light industrial districts and moving the exterior unit accesses from a special use to permitted use. Looking at the other special uses in the light industrial and heavy industrial districts, those have a lot of impacts. There's hazardous characteristics to those that, self-storage facilities really don't fit into, like junkyards, recycling centers. So we thought it should be a permitted use in those industrial districts. So those are the proposed amendments. I have a sample motion prepared. The specific changes are marked up on the attachment, Exhibit A, and we'd recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item? If there is, step up to the podium and state your name and address. Seeing none, I'll open it up to the commission. Anybody have questions for Dan?
It seems like a sensible separation. I like the idea of the way it's broken down.
And I like that anytime it comes up, it has to come up for approval. So it just doesn't give it a blanket allowance in any of those. And I think that's the best way to deal with facilities like this, is case by case, specific locations. Mhm.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Can I get a motion by one of the commission members?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So, based on the submitted petition and testimony presented, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the City Council approval of text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance regarding self-service storage facilities, exterior unit access, as indicated in Exhibit A of this staff report.
I have a motion on the floor from Stoker. Is there a second?
I second.
We have a second from O'Flaherty. Clerk, could you call the roll?
Becker,
Yes.
O'Flaherty,
Yes.
Pena Graham,
Yes.
Stoker,
Yes.
Wright, Maxwell, Vice Chair McMahon,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Okay. The motion has carried for the record. Okay. That being said, we'll move to our second public hearing that's on the agenda tonight. We have a second public hearing is a petition from Haywell LLC, represented by Tim Hayden, requesting approval of a special use permit for a self-storage facility, exterior unit access, at 118 Clive Drive, the northeast corner of East Lincoln Highway and Clive Drive. At this point, I'd ask the applicant to step up to the podium to speak to us regarding this item. State your name and address when you come to the podium.
Good evening. My name's Tim Hayden, and my address is 1900 Squires Landing, Rochelle. I am the applicant of this petition. In 2018, we built a storage facility behind Hy-Vee and Sycamore, so just straight south of the Dekalb clinic. And we have 130 units there. And we have built the units. When I say built them, I mean the mixture of sizes and such. Based on our history, we have facilities in Rochelle and Kirkland and Byron, and all of which are very much occupied, if not 99%, 97%. What we found with our facility in Sycamore is that we are ready for an expansion, but we're ready for an expansion more focused on smaller sizes. We have a unit mix that goes from 10 by 15 to 10 by 30. For reference, I always say that a 10 by 20 is like a one-car garage. We actually went and renovated some of those depths because we found that we were continually saying that we didn't have smaller sizes available. We needed more of the, more like 10 by 10, 10 by 15 type sizes. Just a half hour ago, I got a message from our manager that we actually turned down, or we had 5 inquiries today, none of which we had the right sizes. They were all looking for smaller units. But that facility is, so in building these, they've been a little bit of an evolution. The first one we built was in Rochelle, and they had more like a 112 roof pitch, which is almost flat. But in Sycamore, to meet the standards of the subdivision which we built, we now have a 412 roof pitch, and we have some a brick on the drive, the road side of it. So we've also, as time has gone on, we've increased security with monitors and controlled access gates, which really helps limit the, I think in 3-4 years we've had 0 break-ins. So it's almost like saying that by building a better quality building that can be in a, not just behind or down south of 88, kind of in the industrial area, we're not only building a better looking building, but we're also brings a natural level of security because there's more activity by it. So we have a unit mix planned here. There'd be 3 buildings because of the way the land lays out. The east building, which would be the right, if you're looking at the picture, that will be a one-sided building, but that building will have our only bigger sizes. Then the other 2 buildings will be 40 feet wide, but those unit sizes will be heavily focused on the smaller sizes, and then also 5 by 10, which is a size we don't have. And I think that's all I can figure is that's maybe in this market that we're having interest from is maybe it's college related, or maybe it's more non-single family home or apartment type mixes. So I think what we've really found in building these, the first facility we owned was in Byron, and living 20 miles away, we had a manager to start that lived there, and I was always real nervous that when we started managing it ourselves, that we were going to be driving over there all the time, because they function more like a hotel. But really what we found is they function more like an apartment. Yes, some people use them for a shorter period of time, but our average stay across 500 units is about 3 years. So that really helps limit the traffic, limit the move outs, moving out is when somebody could leave something and leave it to be less desirable. But also having the cameras and such just makes it so people keep the general appearance of the outside in a way that you can be proud of, and you don't have to be hauling couches on a regular basis or that kind of thing. So it is an unmanned facility, but it will have security cameras, 30 days of recording in case anything does go wrong. And one of the things that the city really focused on when we started was the landscaping that was going to be required on the south side. Well, I should say the conversation was focused on the south side, but it really is on all sides. So, it's an area where cars can go 45 miles an hour, and between moving steadily and having a good amount of landscaping in a decent building, I think it's something that can blend in nicely to the area. I don't know the exact colors, but there'll be something in the earth tone. There won't be orange doors or anything like that. That isn't something that you'd want to see. Very trendy type buildings in terms of grays and those kind of colors. I'm sorry. So, that's kind of the gist of what we're trying to do. Like I said, we find in general that occupancies are very high. This is kind of a category of construction that didn't get built for a lot of years. So there has been some good demand. That along with, seems like through COVID that people have made new purchases and things like that, and we find more side-by-sides and vehicles and stuff like that that need to go somewhere. And we really think that, that seems like my real estate background says that the modern family, if you have a two-car garage, you probably have two cars in it, but you also have stuff, so one car goes outside. But, we get people that take them on in this time of year because they want to put their outside stuff in, then they find it's convenient, and it becomes a semi-annual rotation of all the stuff that goes along with owning a home and life. So we've had good luck with them. We really have a small number of delinquencies or auctions. We've done about 3 auctions in 10 years, so people pay well. They're not a nuisance, and they've been a good complement to our real estate business over time.
All right. All right, thank you, Tim. Can I have the city staff make their presentation on this?
Yeah. Staff report in your packets. As Tim mentioned, location on Clive Drive, East Lincoln Highway, just west of the Casey's, and which is right here. This is a 3-lot subdivision, Elliott's subdivision, business park subdivision. It was recorded in 2009. There's 3 lots. The north lot is heavy industrial. There's been some material storage there for the last 3 or 4 years, and the 2 lots up front are zone GC and have been vacant for some time, certainly even decades before the subdivision plat in 2009, and been zoned commercial for several decades too, with no development on it. So with the GC district, we just went through a text amendment that adds the self-storage exterior unit access as a special use in there. So the plat for Elliott's Business Park did provide some setbacks on there, 40 feet for a building setback on Clive Drive, and then 50-foot building setback along East Lincoln Highway in the north and east lot lines, so pretty generous setbacks there. The front yard setback in the GC is 40 feet, so they have additional 10 feet along East Lincoln Highway as a setback to the building, which they are meeting. Their plan does meet all the setbacks. Looking at the plan, they have one access into the site up here off the cul-de-sac, off of Clive Drive, with a security gate. There'll be no water or sanitary service to the site. Stormwater is provided in a detention pond on the east side of the property that will discharge into the East Lincoln Highway right-of-way, which IDOT has. No parking spaces provided on the site. There's no employees on the site. There is a small little office that will be up in this corner here. That would just be for an employee that has to come and show a potential customer the storage units or something, but nothing permanent there. So, and of course, the people will, customers will park in front of their storage space when they come into the facility. There was a 6-foot-high ornamental fence along Clive Drive shown on the plans, and you have the detailed plans in your packets that have all the sheets. I didn't include them on all the slides here, but they're going to revise that down to 4 feet, and there's a condition on that to meet the UDO requirements. So it's not fully enclosed, they're just a nice ornamental fence along Clive Drive. We are taking a look with the engineering consultant for the applicant, the pavement layout with the fire department to make sure that the access and turning radius around there will be adequate. They're taking a look at that now. Talked to the city engineer, he indicated at the entrance they may have to widen that a couple feet, but they have plenty of room to do that. And the widths here between the buildings and at the ends is very comparable to what other facilities in the city of DeKalb have and what his facility in Sycamore has. So I don't anticipate any changes there, but I do have a condition at the end to make sure that's all approved by our city engineer and fire department prior to any building permits. But that's still being reviewed because I do have I have a photo of the Sycamore location there. That's the one that mentioned between Hy-Vee and Peace Road. As you can see, there's a little raised median at the entrance, but that's generally how it kind of look at the entrance. It might be a little bit wider. Landscaping. There's a landscape plan submitted. As you can see, they have a variety of landscaping. There's some existing trees on the site now. That's showing from East Lincoln Highway onto the site. Those trees are going to be removed. There's about 11 of them, 4-inch diameter trees. They're going to take those out and put in a combination of shade trees, evergreens, and shrubs on top of a small berm. And that's shown on the landscaping plan there. Right along East Lincoln Highway, then you have landscaping along Clive Drive, even on the north side. So quantity-wise, they meet the landscape standards in the UDO. They just kind of spread out the landscaping a little bit. Landscaping on the east side, due to the detention pond, there was no room to do that. A little bit of room here, but there's a home on that side that does have some, it's pretty much surrounded by landscaping on the back. So that's how it was a part of the DeKalb Florist before the Casey's was up. So that's actually commercial zoning, but I think it's just used as a home now. So they meet all the landscaping standards required in the UDO. As noted by the applicant, there's a demand for self-storage facilities is increasing, and applicant noted the demand for the smaller type units. We recently approved, the commission did a climate-controlled facility on Sycamore Road a couple of meetings ago, the demand for that. So, and the applicant to provide, showing the demand or what units are left. He had a sheet that was in the packet, showed what's proposed here, what he has at the Sycamore location, then also the minified Dekalb location, which is right just north of Casey's there. And then he also had the unit sizes for Red Dot and Cortland, which is, I had in your packet a little map that showed the location of those, along with location of the where Mr. Hayden's facility would go. So there's a red dot here in Cortland. So it shows that there's not much available in those 3 other facilities, and that's why he's coming in and requesting this special use request. As I mentioned, no employees on the site, be electronic access, security cameras, as Mr. Hayden mentioned, will be at the site securing the location. No goods or no retail sales going on here. Can't store any hazardous materials. That would be prohibited. The buildings will have pitch roofs and some masonry materials at the end. You can see that in the elevations here. So the ends will face East Lincoln Highway, and there's some masonry materials at the ends of those. The gates will be closed from 10 PM to 6 AM, so there's not 24-hour access. I don't have any condition on that. It's kind of up to the applicant. I didn't think that was needed there, so, and no outside storage is proposed, and we have that as a condition that no outside storage can occur here. Also, when we did the amendment in 2018, we added some provisions in Article 7 regarding these facilities, exterior unit access, some things to look at, access, traffic circulation, we talked about that. They will have, that is further being looked at. Lighting, they do have a lighting plan, it's also in your packets, they do meet the UDO requirements. There'll be no dumpster, there's screening, as I mentioned, with the landscaping proposed, no outside storage will be allowed. The hours of operation, I mentioned what they have. This one, ornamental fence elevations are part of the review, and you saw those. Security cameras will be in place, and there's really no parking demand for it. So they meet all the special use standards. They comply with the UDO ordinance. The comp plan calls for commercial at that location, which they're meeting. Surrounding the site, you have GC areas also. You have a self-storage facility just to the east, which has not had any negative impacts on the area. You have a variety of commercial uses in the area, many with some outdoor storage facilities, particularly further west there. So we feel that it fits in with the use. It's taken a vacant lot that's been vacant for decades, and since the subdivision, really no activity whatsoever except for the back lot there. So the utilities are taken care of. Stormwater detention is provided for, meeting the UDO requirements. In terms of public input, we did receive over the weekend, a letter was from Tom Weaver, received over the weekend, sent to commission members, and then forwarded to the city, indicating they didn't feel this type of use was appropriate for the East Gateway into the city. But as noted, it has buffering. The elevations have masonry materials on it. It's set back at least 50 feet from the right-of-way. Security cameras, so it's a facility to be run well, and we feel that does fit into the area and be a good addition to that East Gateway corridor. So I have a sample motion that's prepared, approves the plans in Exhibit A, and the comments in Exhibit B, I'll go over those, and their condition that no outside storage be allowed here. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. On Exhibit B, the comments, I have a few updates on that. The approval of the access and pavement layout by the fire department and city engineer, that must occur prior to any building permit, and as I mentioned, they're working on the details on that. The access entrance may be widened slightly, but and the applicants agreed to do whatever is required. Beyond that, there probably won't be any changes. They'll revise a plan to show a 4-foot high fence along Clive Drive to meet the UDO standards. IDOT approval is needed for the stormwater drainage discharge into the right-of-way East Lincoln Highway, and I heard from the city engineer today that we did receive that approval. There's just some minor comments probably remaining regarding the berming, but that was approved. And they need to revise the lighting plan. The wall packs on the building need to have the cutoff lenses so the light shines downward and not horizontal. So, but they do meet the foot candle requirements in the UDO. So, and again, the applicants agreed to all these changes that will be needed. So we recommend approval per the sample motion in the packet.
All right, thank you, Dan. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public portion of this hearing and then open up to the commission for discussion. So does anybody from the commission have questions for Tim or Dan?
I have a couple. The first one is, will there be a site sign once it's completed? I like the fact that the entrance is on Clive, it doesn't come off of Lincoln. I think that's nice, but, you know, generally there is some sort of signage on self-storage somewhere indicating the business. Do you intend to have one, and where do you intend to put it if so?
In addition to being on Clive, one of the things I didn't mention though that I like is that it's on the far north end of Clive. So, you know, if somebody comes with a truck and a trailer, they have room to get off the road and even stage or wait for the person coming with them, those kind of things. That is a nice part of this site. Of all the things that Dan and I have talked about, we have not talked about signage, but
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to meet the UDO requirements, 50 square foot max, 10-foot high max, like any other GC
I guess,
district.
my goal would be to be on Lincoln Highway.
okay,
Yeah.
that's something that I would prefer not to see. I think in consideration for the letter that we received, one of the things that I think we would like to see, something conforming with the idea of, coming into a business community, we're moving through the industrial into business and then the residential. So from that perspective, I don't know that it would be effective for you, but at 90, 95, 97, 99% capacity filled, I don't know that signage on Lincoln is as important or essential as it might be in other areas. So from my perspective, I guess if there is a sign on site, as long as they have the address anyway, would it create a problem for your company if it was to be required or requested to be moved, that the signs be moved onto Clive?
Yeah, well, as long as, I think the answer is probably no, but, one aspect of signage is not, oh, I need that, I'm going here now, but is the element of directional. So if possible, I would like it to be, I'll say where you can see the sidewalks on Clive, but maybe the compromise then is to turn it parallel to Lincoln Highway instead of perpendicular. You know what I'm saying? Just so that, because I would guess that if you said Clive Drive to a lot of people, they don't know what Clive Drive is because of the, so we will have, I assume, will we have a Clive? Do you determine the address in the city limits? Will it be a Clive Drive?
Yeah, it's 118 Clive
Oh,
Drive.
yeah, that's right.
yeah.
It's already has it.
The, I don't know if it shows.
I'm sorry, so are you suggesting then that the sign would be at the southwest corner of the property, running mostly perpendicular?
Parallel.
Okay, originally I thought you said perpendicular.
I'm sorry.
So you want it running parallel facing Lincoln Highway?
If it were parallel to Lincoln Highway, so it doesn't feel like it's this way, it's perpendicular. I'm asking if that would be, that way it would have the element of directional, so that if, this is the way I find that people find storage units. They take their phone out, and then they actually just, they look for it about 7 minutes before they need it. They call the first number. If they answer, if they get what they want, then maybe they don't go down the list. But so, and as a part of that, if you have your device in your hand, then you can also guide yourself with it.
Map it.
So I'm not, there would be other places I'd be more concerned about having signage than this location, so.
Yeah, I would just point out the Minify does have, their signage is in the Casey sign, because that was part of the same plan development. So they have signage up on Lincoln Highway. It's part of the Casey's.
Is there sitting, there's a sitting north-south, isn't it? So you,
Yeah, it's perpendicular
It's
to
perpendicular.
East Lincoln. There's two sides to it, but it's part of the Casey's, and I think they got a little temporary sign out there too, but which probably not allowed over the long term. But they do have signage for, I think it's important to have some identification for customers that know it's it, but not. So you could restrict the signage in terms of the number or size, or.
On that note, and some of the
If-
other ones that you guys have, it's an industrial area, so people don't have a problem finding those, because those are way off course too, they're not on our main highway.
Yeah, we have one in Byron that is probably as hard to find as you could ask for.
And they find them.
And they find them.
Right, everything's
Yeah.
GPS, so I agree, I don't think a sign is gonna look real pretty that says, hey, storage here, storage here.
Yeah, and the other part about that too, we find, it's kind of a company principle. You talk to our manager, you don't talk to a call center, so you're getting directions when you get your unit. You know what I'm saying? So that you're talking to a human, and you're talking to a human that is giving direction to 50 other people, so if you say, I'm here, he can tell you how to get there, versus talking to just someone that answers the calls for a lot of places.
With the new street, I guess basically Clyde, there'll be a street sign there, won't there? Does anybody know that?
I think it's there now.
That would be a good point. to leave it.
And take one of the street sign. If it's not there out, there should be one. I think when they did the subdivision, they put one up. Yeah.
And
So you can, you can restrict the size or the
We
number.
could- And we could go without it being on the frontage, also because I think there's gonna be enough landscaping that over time, it's gonna blend in anyways, you're not gonna get much. And I would say also, we don't put in the most elaborate signs, they're not reader boards, they're not those kind of things, so it's an identification type sign, and if we can put it kind of like where the curve ends and you're on Clive, maybe that'd be a good place that it'd be what's not gonna be an eyesore, but will be directional at that point, you know what I'm saying?
And I think you hit one of the key points that, storage units from 20, 30, 40 years ago typically were eyesores. They weren't well kept, they weren't, they were a mess. And the ones I've seen put up over the past decade or so, there seems to be quite a bit more consideration for the surrounding areas. I think for us, with Dekalb, was pointed out, the east side of Dekalb, I think we're trying to see it develop and grow and build. So I think it's incumbent upon us to try to make sure that as we move into things like, modern storage facilities that aren't eyesores but are kept nicely, that any signage, the frontage, the landscaping moves in the same direction, that it maintains a nice standard. As people come by, they're not going, oh my God, but they're driving through and
Yeah,
here's, it's storage.
And it's a win-win for us because you have more confidence in a place that looks like it's well-kept from both the security and what's my stuff gonna look like in 6 months when I come back here. So I think it's been a worthwhile increase. We own a place that doesn't, in the evolution of 10 or 15 years, that, you went from gravel to blacktop, no curb to good landscaping, and it's all the standards of and I think you're rewarded for that in terms of people willing to come back,
Let's say one storage in Sycamore, you just have a sign there. I don't
Yeah.
know how big it is, 32, I don't know. It's smaller and
That's probably a hint less than a sheet of plywood, which is 32 square inches,
32 square feet.
One thing we did budget a little more money for is a better frame than we've done in the past. That's kind of like a treated piece of or treated post with slots in it for the sign, but we've planned for a better sign. I don't know I'd be interested to see what's next because, these even have underground storm sewers between them, to make sure no water backs up. Our gutters will go down and that water will travel under the pavement. So I think with some landscaping that, it won't be something that you'll mind on the east side. And I also think one thing to be said about that too is, it's good to see new construction. That's a version of progress there too, and so.
Okay.
Other thing about that too is, with the landscaping in the front, there'll be, even somebody that's there this time of year when it's dark but not 10 o'clock yet, the landscaping will serve to limit the headlights and some of that stuff too. It'll blend very well, I think.
Any other questions? No?
No, I think Steve addressed the concerns I had. It's a tough one, because normally I would think that I wouldn't be excited about a, a storage facility on Lincoln Highway, but when I look at the surrounding businesses, it's not completely out of place over there. And all those other businesses that are more industrial have been there for many, many years. So it's not if anything, this is maybe pointing it in a better direction with the landscaping and other stuff. But the signage placement is a concern, and
If I could compliment what you're saying too, you know, you have a 10-acre asphalt storage yard behind it. So this is, if nothing else, helping blend off that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, so. But that preceded me by, what, decades?
Yeah, well, and some of that's, you know, just the hand you're dealt and all
Right.
that, but this is,
No, I think it's done properly, and it seems that that's the indication that you're making, that it certainly could blend, and it does seem to fit with the sort of the industrial, like, commercial area.
and the neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, really what's around it.
I would just like to see it, you know, done in a way that enhances the area.
well, and I would also, I mean, to that extent, I would tell you that this isn't something that we build and sell. This is something that we build and intend to own, and so obviously anything can change, but hopefully, you know, I say some of these statements with longevity because it's meant to be a part of our business and not just a project.
Sure.
Dan, can you bring up the Sycamore storage unit there?
Sure.
So with the landscaping plan you have here.
That's the site plan,
That's
and let's see,
the Sycamore one.
the front of it.
So this, I don't see much landscaping here. So we're going to be looking at something considerably different on Lincoln Highway?
Yeah, then I would say that was,
I think they have quite a bit of landscaping, and Tim can tell me, along here, you got the big berm, right?
Yeah,
The
so-
south end.
so that subdivision, what came of, how we got to where we are was the facility didn't meet their initial covenants, but with increased roof pitches, brick on the elevation, but what we did was, there was, I don't know if it feels like it kind of wasn't engineered right because we generated like just a massive amount of dirt. But because we're on a corner, we didn't really want to have two brick elevations. The compromise was for the excess material to serve as a berm on the south side. But what I would tell you directly to your question is, we did what their code asked for. Your code has a better standard, and that was the very first point, was landscaping as part of this corridor with Dan and with Mr. Nicholas. And so from the minute we started with the engineer, that was a guiding principle of it. So where the berm comes from, it is, I mean, that's a function of, you're gonna create a hole one place, so you might as well use it to, and there will be some of that berming on Clive, and it's an excess material thing, so I wouldn't,
Okay.
it will be what it is, it'll be lesser berm. But that's the best way to say it is you probably have a more thorough landscaping requirement.
Okay.
But we've gotten zero complaints about the Sycamore facility in terms of how it fit in. And, you know, it's kind of a good case study for we're discussing here, because it's not in the thick of the nicest stuff, but it's, you know, a half block from the clinic and close to the Hy-Vee, and now it's in the shadow of that monster building to the north of it, you know. So I think it blends in, and, you know, as all parts of corridors and transition, or, you know, corridors and planning, I think you have the transition aspect of from one thing to another, you know.
Anybody else have any more questions?
Yeah, I too was concerned about it too when I first read about it. And then I have to think hard about it sitting vacant versus something not there and making it somewhat pretty, and then also the tax benefit to the community. I kind of feel bad for that neighbor, for that lady who's using her house, but I also know that there's not gonna be parties or loud machinery or anything like that. They're gonna come in and out, so you have to think of the positives, I think, too, as opposed to the negatives. And the tax implications are gonna be very helpful I believe, to our community.
Well, and you know, as part of that neighbor, it's planned in a way that they get the best part of it. You know,
Yeah,
there's
they're
no.
getting the back end.
There's no doors, and you know, I guess it's probably 75 to 100 feet to the building, you know, so that's at least it's almost 2 city lots, so you're like 2 houses away, so you could hit a golf ball to it, but you couldn't throw a football to it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about parties.
Yeah.
Well,
If
you
they
never
got
seen a
kids,
Friday night in storage unit, see it crazy.
If they got kids, I'll bet they'll be
Gas station.
using the
Or
pond
loud
as a sled
dogs, or-
spot.
All right.
I think someone else said it too, but I thought that your storage buildings look so much prettier than what is currently in that asphalt lot that's back there. So, I mean, I thought of more as like you were keeping that eyesore out of the way.
All right. All right. So, does anybody want to make a motion on this?
Since I was the one who started this, I'll make it.
Okay.
Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented, and findings of fact, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend to the City Council approval of the special use permit for a self-service storage facility, exterior unit access for the subject property at 118 Clive Drive per the plans as indicated on Exhibit A and subject to the comments in Exhibit B, with the condition that no outdoor storage be allowed on the subject site.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Becker. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second on the floor from Stoker. Any discussion before we call the roll? Seeing none, I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Becker,
Yes.
O'Flaherty,
Yes.
Pena Graham,
Yes.
Stoker,
Yes.
Wright, Maxwell, Vice Chair McMahon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, I would also say that staff, Dan especially, has been very thorough and very helpful. Easy to deal with, not always the case.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Good luck.
Best of luck with it.
Okay. This portion of the meeting, I'll ask for any reports. Staff, do you have any reports for us?
Just a few things. Next meeting is January 3rd. We have one hearing, a rezoning at 1421 East Lincoln Highway, and it was sent out email to the commission members. So let us, Stephanie and I or myself, know if you're not going to be there. So for the 3rd. Next meeting after that scheduled is Tuesday, January 18th, with the holiday, Martin Luther King holiday. We're going to meet on Tuesday. No hearings set yet for that, but we have till the end of the week to do that, and we may have one hearing, so probably we'll have a meeting, but we'll let you know, certainly. We handed out, Stephanie ran off again, in which were emailed the list of the commission members with their contact info, so if there's any changes, corrections, let us know. Also give you a hard copy of the 2022 scheduled meetings for the commission. Also emailed that, so take a look at those. Take note of we do have quite a few holidays that pop up on the third Monday, so with the asterisk on those are Tuesday meetings, so just be aware of that. And we should be jumping into the comp plan more. Certainly, we've been a little slow on that in terms of all the other duties, and Bill Nicholas, city manager, will be, once the budget's done now, will be able to participate more in that. So we plan to do a lot more of that with the commission coming up here in January, February, and March of the new year. So, and happy holidays to all the commission members. Thanks for your hard work this past year.
Thank you.
And thanks for the few that came to the training we had at the County Outreach Building through the Illinois APA. That was a big success, and hopefully the members found that useful. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Is there anybody from the commission that has anything to report? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I move to adjourn.
We have a motion on the floor from O'Flaherty to adjourn. Second?
I second.
Second from Pena Graham. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against, all opposed, same sign. The meeting is adjourned.
Someday I'm just going to go, nay.
You can stay.